Hello, I'm Coach Colin. I'm the staff coach from Indy Premier who will be working with your team on the staff-led training nights this fall Rec Plus season. First of all, thank you so much for committing to coach this year. It's a big commitment. I know that balancing a job, your kids, just the day-to-day duties of being an adult makes it challenging to coach. So please know that your time, effort, energy, and care is infinitely appreciated by myself and the rest of the club. A little bit of background on me. I've been at Indy Premier for 15 years. I've been with the Rec Plus program for that entire time. I'm a U19 Elite 2 boys travel coach. I train at Premier Soccer Academy, which is the school that's attached to Indy Premier. If you can't tell, I do some of our videography for our club's social media. I just wanted to reach out with a few tips to start the season for both returning and new coaches. The first is simple, and it applies to any age group. We want to show up and support our players. So I'll personally try to be at all of our sessions as early as possible. Sometimes I might have a session ending 10 minutes before another one begins, but otherwise for my first sessions of the day, I try to be there about a half hour early. I don't expect parent coaches to be there that early by any means, but we do want to make sure, especially during team practices, that we're checking to make sure that goals are anchored, there's no objects or hazards on the field that might injure our players, which rarely happens. Again, you'll have staff checking these things too, but just making sure that we have a safe and supportive environment. And supportive just means pointing out the positive. So let's make a big deal anytime our players do something good. We don't want to harp on why didn't you do this, but hey, that was great, Tommy, or that was great, Susie. You did an amazing job with that scissor move. Can we do it again? Or can we try to do it this way next time? So making sure that we're always pointing out the positive and reinforcing the good things that our players do. The second tip is simple: to make soccer fun. And this applies at any age group too. Now, how we might make that fun for a U8 player is radically different from a U19 player. U19 players might just want to play and hang out with their friends. So figuring out obviously how to foster that environment while still allowing them to learn and grow their love for a game. Versus U8, they're thinking about points, competitions. We want to develop the technical side of their game. So thinking about different ways in which we can incentivize them, trying new things and being creative on the ball and learning new skills. But anyway, through imagining, a defender being someone protecting a castle, for instance, for younger players. And for older players, maybe it's a little bit more of the rapport that we develop with them. But just making sure that we're actually making the game fun, because that's why kids are there. They're there to play the game. They're there to have fun playing soccer. The third tip is to meet players at their level. So I'd referenced it previously, but in a Rec Plus program, you're going to get players on your team with different levels of experience. Some may be playing the game for the very first time, especially at younger age groups. Some may be experienced players, but we need to coach all of those players both within a team environment and individually. So our challenge as coaches is forming that individual rapport with each player and making sure that we're challenging them to do things that are within their capabilities to do. So a player who's learning still how to do skill moves or learning the nuances of a position, it might not be fair to expect them to have the same background and the same knowledge as a player who's been trying these things for years. So making sure that we are engaging each player and trying to meet them at their level is always very important as a coach. Fourth tip is that we want to keep our communication clear and focused. So I'm as guilty of this as anyone. Sometimes I overcomplicate things, but the sign of a good training session or the sign of a good coach isn't how many cones you lay down. Now, I may lay down a number of cones to keep a session efficient, so I have players picking up as we're going on and the next activity is already set up. So you may see that in some of our sessions, but it's not about how cool you can sound as a coach or how complicated a system of play can be. Really, the simpler the better, even for older age groups. So the more that we can keep a training session focused on one thing. If our team really struggled to finish over the weekend, let's just focus on our play in the final third and finishing. We don't want to incorporate defensive coaching points into that same session. Or if our team really struggled defensively on the weekend and allowed 5 or 6 goals maybe, we don't want to be giving coaching points on the attack in a session where we just need to focus on 1v1 defending or delaying or bringing numbers into our defensive shape. So making sure that our communication is clear and focused and players are able to walk away understanding what we're asking them to do and not in some kind of a hodgepodge of 20 different coaching points that didn't really stick, making sure we're really sticking to what our team needs to be working on that week. And the last tip, again, applies to coaches at any age level. We don't want to be a player's last coach. Now, sometimes players leave because they go to another sport, they move away, but we don't want to make a player fall out of love with the game because of how we treat them or the environment that we set up as coaches. So Whether we're winning every game of the season, losing every game of the season, it's not really the objective. The objective is to foster a love for the game and keep our players coming back. I promise you, for those of you who continue coaching for years beyond this, the most rewarding moments you'll have will be players coming back to you, even after they're maybe not playing for you anymore. They've gone on to a travel team, they've gone on to high school, whatever it may be, coming up and remembering you and saying, hey, I'm on this team now, or I'm playing in high school now, but I remember you and how fun your sessions were. That's the most rewarding thing for a coach. Actually, just had a player right before recording this video text me that he'd secured a starting varsity spot on HSE's boys soccer team, which is always really rewarding, no matter how long I've been doing this, to hear that from players that I've invested in personally or had on my teams, or even from Rec Plus. So just making sure that we're doing everything we can to keep players wanting to return and play the game next season is always important for coaches.